Welcome back to the Health and Fitness Lectures here. We are going to talk about pyramid training today. This is all about mental and time-saving sets. So again, we're on this kick of time-saving sets. We talked about that with circuit training, compound sets, and plyometrics. And pyramid training falls under that realm. Pyramid training also works under mental loads as well and helps with mental loads, which we'll discuss today. So what is pyramid training? Pyramid training is a collection of sets of the same exercise that start with lightweight and higher reps and build to a heavier weight and fewer reps. A full pyramid training set is an extension of this, reducing the weight after you have reached the peak until you have complete the pyramid. So as you can see, a reverse pyramid, straight sets, ascending pyramid. So you can see the different types of sets here to the right, where you might start off with 4 to 6 reps, work your way to 8 to 10, or the opposite direction, or vice versa, and then reverse the pyramid. So we'll explain this a little bit more in depth. The variables of pyramid training is volume, intensity, and or rest. So when we talk about pyramid training, we talk about increasing the amount of volume or increasing the amount of intensity or increasing the amount of rest, or the opposite. We might be talking about decreasing the amount of volume, decreasing the amount of intensity, and decreasing the amount of rest. And so these variables of pyramid training talk about volume and or intensity or rest. Time-saving set. It is a time-saving set. Pyramid training potentially develops a wide variety of skill sets in one workout. All right, so you're talking about heavier weights, lighter weights. Those are all different skill sets. It may have a minimum amount of rest time throughout the workout. So some pyramid sets are shorter rest times, whereas some are more structured rest times. Mental set. So pyramid sets are something that can be utilized for motivation. So you can improve motivation where the pyramid set might be tougher on the way up the pyramid. So you might be doing 100 yards. If you're swimming in the pool, you might be doing 100 yards and take a rest. Then do 200 yards and take a rest. Then 300 yards, take a rest. 400 yards, take a rest. Gets more difficult on the way up and becomes easier on the way down. That is a great way to improve motivation. It does prompt focus, so you need to be able to follow. And pyramid sets are pretty simple to follow, 100, 200, 300, 400, but allows for mental preparation for each one, where you can kind of follow along and each one you're like, okay, I'm doing 100. Okay, now I'm doing 200. So you have to stay focused. You can't just become complacent in what you're doing throughout the workout. So it does prompt focus as well. Variables. So we talked about the three variables. We talked about volume, intensity, and rest. So volume. We talk about volume, and I gave an example already, 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards, 200 yards, 100 yards. That is a pyramid set based on volume. Intensity. Intensity can be either considered weight and or speed. So when we talk about intensity, we might be talking about someone doing shoulder press with 10 pounds, then 15, then 20 pounds, then back to 15 pounds, and back to 10 pounds. Or could be considered speed. So you might be doing 100 yards, and that 100 yards in the pool, you're doing in, let's say, you're doing in 30 seconds, which is very fast. And you do 100 yards in the pool at 30 seconds. Then you do it at 40 seconds, then 50, then 60 seconds. All right? And then back down, 50, 40, 30. All right? So you can change the speeds of a specific workout, not change the volume. Or you can increase and decrease rest. So this is something that actually we do in a VO2 max workout quite a bit to allow for us to hit our VO2 max, where you might decrease the amount of rest, where you do a 400 out on the track. So a 400 run around the track, and then you have 60 seconds rest, then 400 run, then 50 seconds, then 400 run, then 40 seconds, all the way down to 10 seconds. So you cross the line, you get back on the line, and you go again. It becomes very, very intense, and it kind of slowly gets you into it versus other workouts which may be much more difficult to get into. Changing some of the rest allows you to kind of slowly get boiled along. That analogy where, you know, a frog doesn't know it's getting boiled, that kind of happens with decreasing rest in pyramid sets. So you can either increase or decrease rest depending on what you're doing. A lot of times if you're increasing weight and intensity, a lot of times you increase rest with that as well. So that is something to understand, is that the higher the intensity, if you're trying to perform at your maximum, you might need more rest. If you're trying to perform at a higher intensity, then you may keep the rest the same. So those are all factors to consider when developing pyramid training. So a summary: it is a mental set. It provides relief in the down sets and it prompts focus. Time-saving set, it develops a wide variety of skill sets. So it's a shotgun approach to training where you're trying to hit something heavier, something lighter, something faster, something slower, more rest and less rest, more about putting all the intervals together versus performance. All right, it is a time-saving set that develops all those skill sets. Variables, you can talk about volume, increasing, decreasing volume, intensity, and or rest. And it keeps the workouts interesting. So you can do 400s all day long on a track, and if you change the pyramid set, it's a completely different workout. So you might be doing more rest, less rest, all right? Maybe it's faster one time, maybe it's slower another time, and you could still do just 400s on a track. So it keeps the workouts interesting. And pyramid training is all about increasing and or decreasing in volume and or intensity and rest. So that is the summary of pyramid training sets. They are very useful in all of our training, especially as times get busy and sometimes we get a little bit frustrated with our own training. It does help, especially in the mental side of training. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon about our next discussion.